Hey, what's happening, guys? So I'm super excited. Harley-Davidson finally made the Willie G Grips for the 2024 and above Street Glide, Road Glide. It's a completely different setup than like when we did it on the '07 Night Train. These grips, you have to take the switch housings completely off of the handlebars. They're called clamshells. And the reason being is there's sensors for the clutch and there's sensors for the throttle, and so there's some wires you need to disconnect, and you can't get the grips off unless you take the clamshells completely off of the handlebars, which is cool. Another cool thing is the throttle grip is really long, and the reason being is it goes inside the clamshell, fits in there, and then there's kind of like a pin, that clip that closes down on top of the throttle grip. And you can see it kind of guides, it's like a guide. I don't know if it's anything to do with the sensor or whatever, but it's just really cool the way they have it set up. So I'm really excited to get these on and see what they look like and show you guys how to do this. So enough of me talking, let's get into it. Okay, we'll start on the left side here. Underneath, there's a connection for the clutch sensor. And we just have to disconnect that. Okay, we gotta move this boot out of the way. Here's the clutch sensor, and take this clip out. There it goes. I realize that wasn't a very good angle, guys. It's just a standard Harley-Davidson push pin connector, super easy to get out. You've probably done these 100 times yourself. There's two T27 bolts here. So these two bolts are going to actually remove the clutch cable and or the clutch grip, and let me get it out of the way. The clutch cable it's stiff, so you just have to finagle this out of the way. I don't want to bend it, but I think we can just kind of move it out of the way like that. And then there's two T20 bolts in the back here we got to get off. So there really wasn't a lot to talk about here. Like I said, there's two Torx T20 bolts in the front you have to unscrew. You don't even have to take them out all the way, they'll release about halfway. But I took them out all the way, I think, because it was my first time and I wasn't sure. When you undo the clamshell, be careful of that switch on the top there. And finally, you'll see the clutch cable sensor wire right there. You have to remove that. It's a standard Harley clip, but it is in a tight space, so I used a pick to make it easier. So this whole thing should slip off of here now. And then the grip comes right out. So here's the new grip. The new grip should fit like right in there. Right, we just get it positioned where we want the Willie G Skull head. So let's go put that back together and see what that looks like. And we'll get to put the clamshell back on. So let's reconnect this guy. Make sure it clicks in, and it does. I'm probably going to get another overheating error, but I just wanted to show you guys. There's a channel back here that these wires need to go into so you don't pinch them. This is where I made the mistake before. If you guys can see that. And it's pretty easy, like if you just turn this, once you get it around where you want it to be, this thing will lock. There it goes. So it just locked into place there, which is cool. And both of these are run through the channel. And so now I just need to put this back on here. And you know, like I said, the clutch cable is really stiff and you just need to be careful. And again, we just need to make sure that we're running through the channel there so the wires don't get pinched. I'm going to turn the camera on and I'll come back again. Okay, I don't think you really needed to see me thread the bolts back in. I just hand tighten them. But I made sure that, you see where I'm at? I made sure that the clutch sensor cable was routed through. Clicks into place there. Put the boot back on. So it's really important underneath here that you're in that channel. There's a little channel underneath like I showed you guys. Or you'll pinch these wires. Okay, for these T20s, it's saying the torque is 27 to 31 inch-pounds. So we'll do 29. I'll just tighten these down hand tight, and then we'll come back and torque them. Got that? It's this guy right here. Got my T20. .26 inch-pounds. So let's see what happens. That's it. That was it, I believe. Yeah. So these bolts are 81 to 97. I'll do 94. Just hand tighten down first. Perfect. Let's do the other side. So I decided to move the camera into the shade. That would be a lot better. So it's basically going to be the same. There's some wires we need to disconnect from over here. There we go. And so I watched the video and this guy said he wants to hold up the brake lever so that the fuel or the brake fluid doesn't leak down and cause air bubbles and stuff like that. So it's going to be basically the same. We'll take these off and then we'll go through the same motion there, I believe, and we'll see what happens, right? So this is going to be our T27, and once I get them loosened, I'll just unscrew them by hand. You didn't miss much. The camera overheated, even though it's in the shade. It's not that hot, but whatever. So I got to take that, slide off, and then we just have to unplug this here. As you can see here, the throttle side clamshell had a couple sensor wires that needed to be undone. They're in a really tight spot, so I used a pick to help get them undone. Again, standard Harley clips, no big deal. Just be careful. There you go. And then same thing here, you just pull it off. Comes off as one piece. So let me turn this off and we'll put it together in the garage. Here's the new grip. There's the old. We're just gonna take this guy out of here, like so. And put the new grip in. And so, it'll be like this. Then this guy will shut down like that. Did you see any of that? Kind of fits in. Got little notches here. And then this guy folds down like that. So we'll just put this back on. For some reason my camera kept overheating and shutting off, so you're not gonna see me reconnect the wires, but it's pretty straightforward, guys. They just go back in where they came out. One of the things I really do like about these clamshells is when you slide them up onto the handlebars, there's a guide pin or something that locks them into the place they're supposed to be, so it makes it really easy. And then the last thing we had to do here was just tighten down the Torx bolts to the specs, and yeah, good to go. Pretty easy. Alright, so anyway, we're good. We got brakes, we got the new Willie G grips on there. I think we're good to go, folks. Alright, there she is. So let's take a quick walk around and see everything we've done to the bike so far. I actually bought this Willie G radiator cover. I think it's pretty cool. I had that made. You know what? I'll put a link down in the bottom there if you guys are interested in getting something like that made. He does a lot of other cool stuff too. I've got the Willie G floorboard and brake pedal for the driver. There's the Willie G grips we'll put on. I get a little out of control with this stuff. Some Willie G seat bolt. I got the Willie G license plate frame with the little bolts. I've got the Willie G shifters on the floorboard. They bought this cool cover there and the derby cover as well. Don't have a shifter linkage yet, but I'll get that soon enough. So yeah, that's it. Pretty cool. So there you have it. The Willie G grips are installed. Pretty easy job. I guess the only thing that was a little bit of a hassle was taking the clamshells all the way off the handlebars to get the grips in, but you know, really wasn't that big of a deal. The issue that I ran into though was my iPhone kept overheating and just completely shutting off. And so I bought a iPhone cooling fan from Amazon, and hopefully that won't happen again, but you know, we learn as we go. And I'll put a link in the bottom description down there so you guys can grab one of those radiator covers if you liked it. I just sent him the picture of the Willie G Skull and he just did it. He does sports teams, he does all kinds of stuff, and it's really cool. Just tell him that Gene from Devil's Own sent you. I don't get anything from it. I just think it's kind of cool when people know that they're being supported by other content creators. So yeah, that's it. Pretty easy job, not that big of a deal. You guys can do it. So post down in the comment if you've done it, how it went for you, if you learned something, if I need to improve somewhere. It's all good stuff. All right, guys, catch up with you later.